This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
Well, hello, it is Stacey Cole and Carol Hughes. I thank you so much for filling in this week.
Oh,
for
you're
Tony.
welcome. I like doing it.
I'm glad you do because I have fun with you. I have fun with Tony too, but this is a different kind of fun. It's kind of girl
Yeah,
power,
I know. We
really.
do a little girl talk before we record anything every day. So
we totally do. Should we dive in? We've got some yuck for everybody. This is a convoluted story, and I'm just going to dive right into it. The foreman of the jury that acquitted Raul Valley of murder in the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old lacrosse player James Jimmy McGrath has criticized the prosecution's case, saying it lacked the evidence necessary to support a conviction. Valley, now 20, was found not guilty on Wednesday of murder, first-degree manslaughter with intent to cause serious physical injury, and first-degree assault with intent to cause serious physical injury. These charges stemmed from a violent altercation on May 14th of 2022 during a house party in Shelton, an affluent suburb of Fairfield County, Connecticut. The incident occurred during a night of back-to-back high school parties. McGrath, a student at Fairfield College Preparatory School, was fatally stabbed in the chest during a brawl involving dozens of teenagers. Valley, a student at nearby St. Joseph's High School in Trumbull, admitted to wielding a knife during the fight, but testified that he did not intend to kill anyone and acted in self-defense during a chaotic melee. The jury was unable to reach a unanimous decision on two lesser-included charges, second-degree manslaughter and second-degree assault, both based on recklessness. Now, as a result, a partial mistrial was declared on those counts. Jim Stolman, the jury foreman and 10th juror, read the not guilty verdict in court. Speaking to a news station afterward, he said they just didn't have enough to prove the case. There were too many inconsistencies and contradictions in the testimony. He explained that jurors quickly dismissed the idea that Valley had intentionally killed McGrath. The prosecution failed to prove intent, he said, adding that the jury followed legal instructions carefully. We did what we were supposed to do. Stillman acknowledged the difficulty in the case, saying not everyone will be happy with the conclusion. We weren't happy that we couldn't find agreement on the final counts, but we did everything we could to get as far as we did. A partial mistrial leaves the possibility of further legal action. Fox News Digital confirmed that the state of Connecticut plans to retry Valley on the unresolved reckless manslaughter and reckless assault charges. Outside the courtroom, Jimmy McGrath's father, Kevin, expressed disbelief over the verdict. I'm astonished at the results, he said, but it's due process, and Valley is entitled to it. The jury made their decision. He admitted he was confident there would be a conviction after learning a verdict had been reached. I'm shocked. I thought we were going to get some justice today, McGrath said, but despite his disappointment, he acknowledged that Valley received a fair trial. I don't believe that Raul woke up Saturday morning planning to kill Jimmy, he said. They didn't even know each other, but my son is gone and the person who took his life is free tonight. During the trial, Valley testified that he never intended to harm anyone. He said the fight began at a home on Lazy Brick Road and then continued at a second house party on Laurel Glen Drive. Valley said a friend handed him a knife during the brawl and that he swung it defensively in a panic as he was being surrounded and attacked. He claimed he briefly lost consciousness during the fight. McGrath suffered a fatal stab wound to the chest and was pronounced dead later that night. The McGrath family is now pursuing civil litigation against multiple parties that they believe bear responsibility for the events of that evening. Their attorney, Michael Rosnick, told Fox News Digital that lawsuits have been filed against the homeowners where the parties occurred, their children who allegedly hosted, and others who allegedly supplied alcohol to minors. We sued the individuals and their parents, Rosnick said. The homeowners where the two fights broke out, Lazy Brook and Laurel Glen, have both been sued. Court documents show that one of the homeowners' sons allegedly hosted the party where the fatal fight occurred, and the lawsuits allege negligence, social host liability, and failure to supervise underage drinking. Rosnick added that the civil cases have been consolidated to avoid multiple trials. Now that the criminal case has concluded, we're going to be much more aggressive in our pursuit of justice against all responsible parties, he said. The Connecticut State Attorney's Office has not yet commented publicly on the decision to retry Valley on these unresolved charges. One thing to keep in mind, ooh, my computer just went dark on me. That's not fun.
That's not good.
Good grief. There we go.
Okay, thank God. Since yours just crashed the other day, that had to give
that
you a
made me
moment of a
nervous, like,
panic attack.
Stop it. What's going on? House parties are a big effing deal, especially if parents are out of town, because they can be sued.
And they are
bad
going
things
to
happen
be.
at these
Yeah.
parties. You know?
This is exactly the bad thing that can happen. And this is interesting to me because I don't follow court cases as closely as you and Tony do, but being found not guilty on certain charges and then a mistrial on other charges. I wasn't familiar with that you could go, these charges were a mistrial, these ones not guilty. And I get that they could bring those up again.
And that's kind of what happened with Karen Reed. A different story altogether, but you know, they just couldn't agree. So let's go back to the drawing board and start over.
But the way he was not guilty on these big charges, and I thought the dad, what he had to say, I can't imagine what he's going through. His son is dead, and nobody's being held responsible for it.
Yeah,
and I also don't think that morning. And he's right. When this kid woke up, they didn't even know each other. These two young men woke up the same morning. They end up at the same party, and one of them ends up dead at the end of the day. Like, it's just, you can't even wrap your brain around that. And
yeah.
So you do have to look at where does the responsibility also lie? Did they have permission?
Exactly.
You know, did the parents know about these parties? Where did the alcohol come from? I agree with the families on this civil case. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I would do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I do want to point out, I've been doing martial arts for a little bit now, and a very violent martial art at that. It's mainly defensive, but we train with fake knives with the intent that if we are ever in a situation and we have access to a knife, we know how to use it. It's not just, and this sounds terrible, but it's not just stabbing. There's methods to how to make the most effective cut so that you can get away. And the thing that always comes up is, if you've got a knife, it's not that it's intent, but you have it for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I understand self-defense, but you also have to understand, if you have a knife with you, you have the potential to kill somebody. Yeah. Because without that knife, if you're not a trained martial artist, you probably won't be killing somebody unless, you've got a gun or something. But if you're carrying a knife, your chances of harming somebody, killing somebody, go up exponentially. And right now, I'll be honest with you, I carry a knife in my purse right now. I'm probably not supposed to, but I do. I've got a weird situation going on, and I've been training with knives, and I carry one. But I also understand that with that comes a responsibility. If somebody decides to escalate a situation with me, if I unzip my purse and put my hand on that knife, I'm making a choice. Mm-hmm. And a kid is being held accountable for stabbing somebody, but he had a choice. He didn't have to have that knife. He didn't have to. And it was self-defense, but he made a choice there.
I have the feeling, I have no idea it wasn't there, but I have been to, I remember in high school being to a couple parties that got really out of hand, and it happened so fast, and people are just screaming and yelling, and it became chaotic. And that kind of sounds like what happened here, like it was a pretty big brawl, and somebody hands him a knife, and then, there's alcohol, he's feeling threatened. I'm not saying what he did was okay by any means. He should be held accountable in some way. Somebody ended up dead because of his actions. And so I have the feeling they might, on these other charges, if they retry him, maybe that's where he'll be found guilty. I don't know. But, there was just nothing good was going to end with this situation. I think he just panicked, and I don't know, he might have felt like he was going to get the shit kicked out of him or something, and he just reacted. Like I said, and the dad said, I don't know, he didn't get up that morning intending to kill somebody, but at the end of the day, literally, he did.
He did. He absolutely did.
And it's just the saddest situation. This kid's life's never going to be the same. The other poor child is dead. And his family, like how it's so hard to go on after something like that. Because there's no closure to this for them.
No,
and there's no matter what happens, I'm going to guess these parents are going to be sued and there will be some sort of financial agreement. I don't know. It's not going to bring their son back. It might get him some justice, but it doesn't bring him back. It's just impossible. It's such a sad story in so many ways.
Just, and not only the people that it affected, the two families, but people who witnessed it too.
Yeah.
There's secondary trauma. The kids who witnessed the stabbing, they're not going to be the same either. So there's so many victims in this right now.
I mean, they're suing the kids who had the parties at their house along with their parents. I mean, and I don't blame them. I think I would do the exact same thing. Like, you said yes to letting your kids have a party, or you should have known everybody has cameras in their house. They live on Lazy Brook and Laurel Glen, the two houses. They sound rather affluent. Don't know that they are, but those are kind of affluent neighborhoods. Yes. They have video in their house.
Of course they do.
I can't imagine you would have kids and a family without having surveillance and security in your house. They had to have known. Did they think this would end like this? Of course not. They probably just a harmless high school party, no big deal. Wasn't.
No. And again, did the parents, did they know that their kids were going to have a party? I'm not saying that they're guilty, but I feel like if you go away and you've got kids, it's your responsibility to know what they're up to.
And
don't you think?
I don't even think that's going to be a factor if they knew or not. It was their house.
Right.
And they didn't properly supervise their children.
No, they didn't.
So I got the feeling it'll be interesting to follow that and see where that goes. I feel bad for the family because no matter what happens here, it's no resolution.
No, there isn't a
resolution. And it had to have been
devastating
to them that this kid was found not guilty. But then as the jury, that's a whole nother thing. When you read what the jury foreman had to say, you could tell that he was really upset that this is where they came, to their conclusion, but they didn't really present the case to clearly convict.
Right.
So I think it was traumatizing for so many people.
I don't know. I mean, I've been to some weird, wicked parties, but nobody died. Although somebody did get injured, but I don't know. It's just a lot to think about.
It is a lot.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers Podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.